Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how we do things around here. We pick a fascinating topic and, well, we really get into it. Today, music. I mean, who doesn't love music, right? But this isn't just about our favorite bands or singers. This is about the science. We're going to be looking at how music impacts our brains, how it affects our moods. I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to dig into.
So for this deep dive, we're using research from an episode of the ExplainLab podcast called The Science of Music. That episode was super helpful in putting together today's show. And you know me, I'm always fascinated by learning how things work. But especially when it comes to something as universal and powerful as music. I mean, we all experience it every day. But do we really stop to think about what's actually happening in our brains when a song comes on that we love?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't.
I know I don't.
No,
Or how music can totally shift our mood. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
it really is. And it's so much more complex than most people realize. I think most people think that music is just, something we hear. It's an auditory experience.
Right. It goes in our ears and that's it.
But it actually engages multiple areas of the brain. It's not just about the auditory cortex.
So like a full brain workout.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean? I mean, how is music engaging all these different parts of our brains?
Well, think about this. Have you ever had the experience of listening to an old song and suddenly you're transported back to a specific time or place?
Oh, all the time. I mean, certain songs just have that power, don't they?
Exactly. And the reason that happens is because music taps into our amygdala, which is the brain's emotional center, and also the hippocampus, which plays a huge role in memory formation. So you're not just hearing the music, you're reliving emotions and memories that are associated with that specific song.
It's so true. It's like a time machine, almost.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about how sometimes I'll hear a song and instantly I'm in a certain mood, whether it's happy or sad or whatever. There's definitely a connection between music and our feelings.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where dopamine comes in. When we listen to music that we enjoy, our brain releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter. It's often called the feel-good chemical because it's part of the brain's reward system. And that explains why music can be such a powerful mood booster.
It's like our brains are hardwired to get a hit of happiness from music. I love that. But I'm curious, is it any type of music that does this? Or is it like specific elements, like a catchy melody or a driving beat that really trigger that dopamine release?
That is a great question. The research suggests that it's a combination of things. I mean, the basic elements of music, like rhythm and melody, definitely play a role. But a lot of it is also about our personal meaning and associations. A song that might evoke positive memories for you or has a special significance for you is going to have a much stronger emotional impact than a song that you don't have any personal connection to.
So it's a mix of the universal, like the basic elements of music, and the person, like our own individual experiences and memories.
That's so interesting. And it makes me think about all those playlists out there for different moods and activities, like the Get Happy playlist or the Focus playlist. People are already tapping into this connection between music and mood, aren't they?
Absolutely. People are creating their own personalized soundtracks for their lives. Exactly. And that actually brings us to another really fascinating aspect of this whole topic. Music and focus. I mean, there's a whole genre of steady music out there.
Right.
But does it actually work? I've definitely used those playlists before, but I'm not sure if they actually helped me or if they were just a distraction.
Yeah, a lot of people ask that question. And it's not a simple yes or no answer. Some studies have shown that instrumental music, especially classical music or ambient music, can actually help some people focus.
Oh, interesting. So like Mozart while I'm writing a paper.
Potentially. I mean, it really depends on the person and what they're trying to focus on. But the idea is that these types of music, they often have repetitive patterns and minimal changes. And that can actually help to block out other sounds and distractions. It's like creating a sort of auditory cocoon for your brain.
Ooh, I like that. A sonic shield against distractions. So it's not so much about the music itself, but more about creating a calm and consistent soundscape. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing music with lyrics could have the opposite effect, right?
Yeah, you're right. Music with lyrics can actually compete for your attention because your brain's trying to process both the music and the words at the same time. It's like trying to read a book while someone's talking to you in the background.
Way too much input. Now, I remember reading about something called the Mozart effect a while back.
Yeah.
The idea was that listening to Mozart made you smarter. Is there any truth to that?
Yes, the Mozart effect. It definitely captured a lot of attention. And there were some initial studies that suggested that listening to certain types of music, like Mozart's Sonata for two pianos in D major, could temporarily improve spatial reasoning skills. But later research found that, well, the effect was pretty specific. It was temporary, and it wasn't really a long-term boost in overall intelligence.
So no shortcuts to becoming a genius just by listening to Mozart. But it's still interesting that music can have even a temporary effect on our cognitive abilities.
Absolutely. And even if it's just a temporary boost, it does make you wonder if maybe listening to certain types of music could be helpful in specific situations. Like, say you're about to do a task that requires spatial reasoning, like putting together a piece of furniture or navigating a new city. Maybe listening to music that stimulates those areas of the brain could give you a slight edge.
That's fascinating. I mean, it's not about making us all geniuses, but maybe music can provide a temporary cognitive advantage in certain contexts.
It's definitely a possibility. And I think the key takeaway here, like we talked about earlier, is personal preference. What works for one person might not work for another. Some people need total silence to focus, while others actually work better with some kind of background music. It's all about finding what suits you best.
Exactly. We're all unique, and our brains respond to music in different ways. So it's about experimenting and figuring out what helps you achieve that focused flow state. And speaking of well-being, let's shift gears a bit and talk about another really important aspect of how music affects us. It's therapeutic potential. I mean, for me, sometimes just putting on some calming music can totally shift my mood. It's like my brain is getting a sonic massage.
I love that analogy. And it's not just a subjective feeling, there's actually a physiological change happening too. Calming music can lower our cortisol levels. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone because it's released in response to stress.
Right, cortisol. Everyone talks about cortisol these days.
It's because it plays such an important role in our bodies. I mean, it helps regulate a lot of different bodily functions. But chronic stress can lead to elevated cortisol levels, which can have negative effects on our health over time. And that's where music comes in. It can help counteract those effects.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's not just in our heads. There's a real biological basis for how music can help us relax and de-stress.
Exactly. And beyond relaxation, music therapy is actually being used more and more in healthcare settings to help people manage conditions like anxiety and depression.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. So how does that work?
Music can provide a safe and expressive outlet for emotions, and it can also help regulate moods and reduce those feelings of isolation that people with these conditions often experience. It's really powerful.
And I've also heard that the act of creating music, like playing an instrument or singing, can be therapeutic in itself. It's like channeling your emotions into something positive and creative.
Absolutely. Playing music or singing can be incredibly cathartic. It allows you to express yourself, release pent-up energy, connect with other people through shared musical experiences, all really positive things.
Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to share some other really fascinating things I learned from the Explain Lab episode. Okay, so did you know that listening to certain types of music before you go to bed can actually influence your dreams?
I've heard that too. Isn't that wild?
It's like you're composing your own dream soundtrack.
Yeah. If you listen to calming music before sleep, you might have more peaceful dreams. And on the flip side, if you listen to something more upbeat or intense before bed, your dreams might be more, well, energetic. It's not a guaranteed thing, of course. Everyone's dream experiences are unique, but there's definitely a link between the sounds we hear before sleep and the worlds we create in our dreams.
That is so cool. I am totally going to experiment with that. Okay, here's another one that blew my mind. Music is often called a universal language, right? It can transcend cultural and language barriers and bring people together in a way that words sometimes just can't.
It's true. Think about huge concerts or music festivals. You've got people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life coming together to share this experience of music. They may speak different languages, they may come from different cultures, but they're all united by the rhythm, the melody, that shared emotional experience.
It's amazing. It really shows how powerful music can be.
Yeah.
It taps into something very fundamental about being human, something we can all connect with on a deep level.
And one final thought before we wrap up. Learning to play a musical instrument can have some really lasting benefits for your brain. And not just when you're young, these benefits can actually continue throughout your life.
Oh, really? I always thought it was more of the younger the better kind of thing.
Well, it's never too late to start learning. Playing an instrument can enhance your brain plasticity, which is your brain's ability to change and adapt over time. It can also improve your memory and other cognitive functions. And it might even enhance multitasking skills.
So all those years of piano lessons as a kid really did pay off.
In more ways than one, it sounds like.
Exactly. Well, there you have it. Music is clearly so much more than just sounds. It's a powerful tool that can help us regulate our moods, enhance our focus, relieve stress, and even boost our brain health. It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really is. So given everything we've talked about today, I'd encourage everyone listening to think about how they might use music more intentionally in their own lives. What kind of music energizes you? What kind of music helps you focus? What kind of music brings you comfort and helps you relax?
Such good questions. And how can you incorporate those different types of music into your daily routines to enhance your well-being and maybe even boost your brain power? Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into the fascinating world of music and the brain. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so feel free to share your favorite songs or musical moments with us in the comments below. See you next time.
See ya.